All right, I'm back with another installment of MasterMind Review TikTok Theology. This time we're going to be looking at a sermon or a sermon clip. Let me be clear. This is a sound bite from Stephen Furtick. So before we jump into this, well, actually, I do need to set this up and make sure that I have this ready to share. And while I'm doing that, please make sure you like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so that way you get notifications, right? And consider joining our Patreon or our YouTube membership so that you can start getting connected to the community. And we also have merch. All right, I think I have my screen shared now, so let's jump into this and see what Pastor Furtick has to say.
When you are tired, you must be very careful that you do not become dehydrated. You have got to move away from wells that will never quench your thirst, and you have got to receive the water that flows from within. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the reason that you came to church today is God wanted to give you water.
So, kind of like based from segment one, you immediately see some elements of that trauma bond. Like we're speaking to people who are tired. In the first episode, we were speaking to people, who were essentially tired of other people wondering, how they were gifted, and and in this case, it's just you're tired, and it's because you're drinking the wrong water. If that's not scammy, I don't know what is, right? And that was the thought that ran through my head was the grass is greener. And I don't think I've ever realized that before, because honestly, I preached messages just like this. And actually I'm not an enemy of Stephen Furtick in any shape, form, or fashion. I honestly believe that he believes this with his whole heart, and that he believes that he's helping people with messages like these. And I definitely thought that I was helping people with messages like these. But I just want us to take a more mature approach to figuring this out, and determining if this really is healthy, and maybe wondering, like, this is just the second installment of this, but is this the second back-to-back video. These are two different preachers, one black, one white. Jamal has been all up and down the East Coast, but his church was initially in Baltimore. And then Stephen Furtick's church is in I want to say North Carolina. Um, and now Jamal is in Atlanta. That clip was from Atlanta. That was from New Birth. And these preachers do have very different backgrounds, very different cultural scapes, but they are in the same category of what I'd call mainstream Christianity or popular Christianity, right? And though popular Christianity has some crossover with evangelical Christianity, it's not always the same thing, but there is a lot of crossover. But yeah, it's just this idea that God knows you're tired, right? And so you don't really hear it when you're in it, but it's this invitation to feel like you can't handle life, you know, and that's kind of the prerequisite to being able to offer you a solution. Is you're here like that? That's how we haven't got all the way through, but we're almost through. But midway through, he says you're here because God knows you need water. And the reason you need water is because God knows you're tired. And maybe you should pay attention to that, because he's basically saying, if you weren't tired, you wouldn't be in church. Wow. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't tired, you wouldn't need this message. You need this message because you're tired. And I want people to start considering that, paying attention to that. Like, what is that actually saying? And what does that actually mean? And what does it mean about me if I always need messages like this? Am I always tired? And have I not learned how to deal with life? A major revelation for me and revelation is probably not the best word, but it's a language I'm used to using. But a major realization for me, as I was deconstructing and deconverting, is that I was treating myself as if I couldn't handle life, as if I was fragile, and if everything was going to break me down, and like, oh, life was so hard. And it's like, you really do create this victim mentality. And that's why I call out this trauma bond type of preaching every chance that I get, because that's what it's creating. It's creating people who become victims of their own lives, people who are always tired. And then again, this grass is always greener concept that I say is the first thing that came to my mind, because he says, you got to be careful which wells you're getting your water from, because all the water doesn't, so again, some water does you better than other water, and that just creates that realm of mystery, of gobbledygook, that when someone is confused, it allows you to insert something for their question marks, and that's always how the grass is all greener type of propositions work. You just see something that sounds better, looks better, feels better. Something is better about their water, but the thing you're forgetting is that it's water. And so that whatever they're doing to their water, you can do to yours. So I've always thought about that. The grass is greener on the other side. You don't have to go get their grass. You can learn what they're doing to their grass. And so again, this is a way of approaching life that is not engaging and not learning how to solve your problems. If you run into a problem where your well is not giving you the type of water that you want, leave that well and go find somebody else's well that has the water that you want. Instead of you learning how to engage with, like, how do I purify this water? Like, how do I get better quality water? Okay, so I think I said enough about that. Let's keep rolling.
He knows you're tired. He knows you're thirsty. He hung on a cross and said, I thirst too. He stretched his arms this wide because he was tired of it too. And the man who was God became man, and he who knew no sin became sin, that we might become the righteousness of God.
All right. So can you see the trauma bond, right? So it's God knows you're tired. And so now it's this point of suggestion, the power of suggestion. You're in there, the atmosphere is right. There's this sense of agreement that is going amongst the crowd. You've likely been musically in tune by this moment, and you're really thinking about your life. And then he says, God knows you're tired. And it's like, man, well, if God knows I'm tired, maybe I really am tired. And it's like, oof, I am tired. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, we are all tired. This is a very easy thing to go through. I think the difference between healthy people and what may sometimes not be as healthy people is healthy people learn how to manage their energy. You learn how to, okay, if I'm tired, there are certain things I can do. I can get more rest, but not only can I get more rest, I can prioritize my day better. But not only can I prioritize my day better, I can make sure that my nutrition is in alignment with my energy needs. There's all different types of decisions that you can make, but in this case, it's more like, nope, you're tired, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it but God. And here is the good news: the reason why you're okay being tired is because Jesus was tired too. That is definitely trauma bond type language, right? We're tired together. When I'm tired, you're tired, we're tired together for ice cream, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so I did think that was interesting. And then, but I did like that. Again, it's not the close, just where I paused at. Because he who knew no sin became sin, that we might become the righteousness of God. One of the early churches that I kind of cut my teeth in, this was that church's motto, that Christ, who knew no sin, became sin, that we might become the righteousness of God. It is a powerful scripture, and it's one that I've always loved, but it's problematic in itself, because Christ does not consider himself sinless. And the proof of that is just because he doesn't consider himself good. When one of the disciples calls him good teacher, he says, call no one good but the Father is above me. And so that's Christ who does not consider himself good. And then also the Pharisees constantly, as acknowledged by the gospel writers, whoever the hell they are, constantly acknowledge that Christ hangs out with a lot of sinners. Many people call him himself a sinner. You know, the old comedy joke is that his first miracle is turning water into wine. His debut is at a wedding. So there's a lot to say there. But that was one of my favorite scriptures, so I did kind of appreciate that take. But also notice the passion here, and I do want to call that out. And I wish I would have called it out in the one I did for Jamal too, because that's a part of the art form of preaching. And the sad thing about this is that it's not always an intentional art form. Is that many times some of these people do not allow themselves to fully understand that they're engaging with art, even though they practice it like an art, they perform it like an art, they study others like an art, and you can definitely see the art form here. When you study preachers, it's really easy a lot of times to identify some of the people that they really admire, because those things kind of bleed into that. All right, so we'll keep going so we can wrap this up. I'm gonna back it up a little bit, and then we'll let this close out.
That we might become the righteousness of God. And he said to the woman, and he said to me, and he said to you, come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
All right. Okay, so because that's gonna go to another video. Okay, I stopped it. All right. Nope, it's still going. Okay. Nope. See, I knew it was gonna do it. I caught it. All right, and I'm gonna stop sharing screen so that'll make it easier too. But hear that then. Come unto me, all you who are tired and weary. Again, that trauma. It's you're just tired of dealing with life. You can't deal with life, and this is incredibly patronizing. You know, you can't deal with life. That's the message in a lot of these popular churches, is that you're incapable of dealing with life. You're incapable of handling life by yourself. You just can't do it. That's why you're so tired. You know, no, it's not that you're tired because you might be mismanaging your schedule. It's not that you're tired because you might be taking on more than you need to. It's not that you're tired because maybe you're not approaching life with a mature understanding. You're tired because you are incapable of dealing with life. And the good news is that God knows that, and he wants you to come to him. And the promise is he's going to give you rest. And doesn't that sound lovely? It does sound lovely until you try to make that work as a lifestyle in a modern society, or in any society since humans have civilized themselves, or even before then. There's just never been a time where resting other when you're sleeping was necessarily a healthy response to life. But that's what you do have. You have a lot of people who embrace these forms of popular theology, who ultimately end up suffering from what I like to call retreatism, where the invitation becomes to retreat from life, to retreat from responsibility. And so people's like, well, I don't have to raise my kids. God's going to take care of my kids. I'm just going to hand them over to the Lord. I don't have to worry about my finances. I can just tithe, and then God is going to make financial blessing available to me. Or not just tithe, I can give offerings. And so, big seeds. It's approaching life in a way of not having to understand it at all, not having to critically engage with it. And then your goal in life doesn't become to be productive. Your goal in life doesn't become to contribute. Your goal in life doesn't become to help others. Your goal in life becomes to rest. And so now maybe you understand why so many evangelicals and you know, urban missionaries, I guess that's what we'll call them, are so disturbed by calls for social justice and equity and equality and diversity and inclusion. Because when you're calling for work towards these things, you are disturbing the rest that the preacher promised them. So that's all I have today for this particular mastermind review, TikTok Theology. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And consider joining our Patreon community or our YouTube membership community. Also, we're looking for volunteers. You can visit my website, dldd.us. That's the letters dldd.us. And you'll find a little, click the button. I think it says join our team or something. Click that icon and you'll learn a little bit more about the opportunities that we're looking for so you can help us build genuine community. And I think that's all I have for now. Oh yeah, we have merch. Please don't forget about the merch. We have merch that right now it says keep rising, and we have another one that says, oh, think responsibly. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I love to hear about that in the comments as well. Until next time, man, keep rising, stay progressive.